Have you ever thought about the fact that our whole life is like a big stage where people around us act out their roles? I feel it literally every day. We put on masks, trying to appear to be what we really are not. But do you know what the most interesting thing is? When you learn to see behind words and gestures, the true faces of people will be revealed to you. I remember one meeting. Everyone was sitting with strange smiles, nodding in agreement, but I could clearly sense the hidden intentions behind those smiles. This was revealed by the smallest details, the position of the hands, hitches in speech, or a fleeting glance. Once you start noticing these subtleties, your perception of people will change forever. Do you want to know what they're hiding? Then let us get down to this fascinating puzzle together. Let me introduce one technique that may seem almost like a superpower. Its beauty lies in its simplicity. No one will even realize that you are using it. All you need to do is stay calm and gently direct the conversation. When someone talks about something enthusiastically, instead of interrupting or arguing, you just say 3 words. Tell me more. A few years ago, I accidentally discovered this method during a discussion with a friend about whether it was better to watch films in the original or dubbed. I was ready to defend my point of view fervently, but instead I said, "Tell me more." And do you know what happened? Instead of a banal argument, my friend began to share wonderful memories. How he watched movies with his parents as a child, how they discussed plots together, and laughed at the strange dubbing moments. As a result, the conversation wasn't about movies, but about how these stories connect us to each other. The bottom line is that when people feel heard, they start to relax. They no longer need to argue, defend themselves, or hide behind words. They become open, share their sincere thoughts, feelings, even fears. This simple phrase, "Tell me more," creates an atmosphere of trust. People start talking not because they have to, but because they feel your concern. One day, at a business meeting, I decided not to insist on my agenda, but instead gently interjected, "Tell me more about it." Surprisingly, the other side eventually laid out their entire strategy in front of me. They even said they needed the deal badly. All I did was listen, but this is not just a trick for getting information. It is a way to establish a true connection with people. In a world where everyone is in a hurry to speak out, but rarely anyone is ready to listen, the ability to ask the right question and sincerely understand the answer is an invaluable gift. This technique teaches you not only to see people for who they are, but also to be a support for them. When you ask a person to explain something without pressure or judgment, you give them the feeling that they have really been heard. This creates trust and can even ease someone's worries. Don't manipulate or try to control the conversation. Just watch, listen, and try to understand. The next time you find yourself in a conversation, whether it is a serious conversation or a light exchange of opinions, try the "tell me more" technique. You may be surprised at how much stronger your connection with people will become, how much more deeply their thoughts and feelings will be revealed. Have you ever thought about the fact that we all play our roles on the stage of life? I feel it every day. People put on masks and impersonate others. But here is what is amazing. Once you learn to read hidden signals, you will begin to discern their true faces. I remember one meeting. Everyone around me was smiling and nodding, but I sensed that beneath those smiles were real intentions. Every little thing, foot movements, pauses in conversation gave them away. Once you start noticing these nuances, your perception of people will change forever. Do you want to find out what they're really hiding? Let us solve this fascinating mystery together. The first method I want to talk about is called "Tell me more." This technique is basically like a superpower. Almost no one will realize that you're using it. It is simple and effective. All you need to do is relax, stay calm, and when someone enthusiastically shares their story, instead of putting in their opinion or arguing, just say the 3 magic words, "Tell me more." I came across this many years ago when I was arguing with a friend about whether to watch movies in the original or dubbed. I was ready to defend my point of view, but instead I just smiled and said, "Tell me more." Suddenly, the conversation began to develop in a completely unexpected way. My friend started sharing memories of watching movies with his parents as a child. We discussed our favorite scenes and funny moments about dubbing. The conversation was not just about movies, but about how they bring people together through a few simple words. When people feel that they are being heard, they begin to relax. They no longer have to defend themselves or argue, and they start sharing much more than they had planned. You create a safe space that allows people to remove their usual defenses. They may think they ray just having a conversation, but they ray actually revealing their motivations, fears, insecurities, and even hopes without realizing it. I've used this approach in meetings with colleagues and even with people who looked a little suspicious. One day, instead of advancing my negotiating agenda, I just kept saying, "Tell me more." By the end of the meeting, the other side revealed their strategy and explained why they needed the deal so badly. They actually opened their cards in front of me, and all I did was listen. It seemed incredibly simple, but this is not just a method of obtaining information. This is an opportunity for connection. In a world where everyone is in a hurry to talk, but rarely listens, the phrase "tell me more" becomes a way to understand people more deeply. You go beyond your thoughts about what to say next and begin to genuinely care about the other person's opinion. When you ask people to explain their feelings without judgment, you give them the opportunity to be heard. This creates trust and can even ease inner feelings. This technique is related to one of the main teachings of Stoicism, empathy without attachment. You are not trying to manipulate the conversation, but simply observe, understand, and remain calm. So, the next time you find yourself in any conversation, try using the "tell me more" technique. You will be surprised how much deeper the conversation will become, how much more people will open up, and how easily they can be understood without pressure. This approach helps to create genuine human connections based on respect and sincere interest. This is where the real power lies, the ability to see others and recognize oneself through their prism. To truly understand a person's character, it is not enough to look only at their behavior with you. Pay attention to how he communicates with those whom he considers inferior. This may seem controversial, but it reveals a harsh truth about human nature. Whether it's a waiter, a cashier, or a colleague with a lower rank, their interactions with people with less power can reveal a lot. I've experienced this personally. I worked with a man who seemed charming, funny, and always polite in meetings. However, one day, while having lunch together, I saw another side of him. As soon as we sat down, he began to treat the waiter rudely, giving orders as if he were royalty. It was shocking to see how quickly friendliness turned to arrogance. This was a signal to me and helped me understand that his behavior was not accidental, but reflected his true character. He was kind only when it was beneficial to him. People show their true nature when they think that no one important is watching. If they behave arrogantly, they will be like that with anyone who, in their opinion, will not be able to respond. If they show contempt for a colleague because of a lower position, this arrogance and disrespect will manifest itself in other aspects of their lives. A person who is nice to you but rude to others is actually unkind, but calculating is about their real personality when there is no pressure to behave politely, and someone thinks they can humiliate others. Stoicism teaches us to observe human behavior objectively, and this is one of the most obvious indicators. It's easy to be kind when there is something to gain, but true character shows up when a person doesn't lose anything. I've used this principle in friendship, business relationships, and even romance, and it has become a kind of invisible test for me. If someone respects the janitor, thanks the bus driver, or shows kindness to a stranger, that's a person you can rely on. Our attitude towards others reflects how we see ourselves. People who respect everyone are usually confident in themselves. They don't need to humiliate others to feel important. But those who are cruel to others often hide their own insecurities by exalting themselves at the expense of those they consider weak. This is a form of arrogance that Stoicism teaches us to recognize and avoid in ourselves. Therefore, in order to truly understand a person, do not be deceived by how he treats people whom he considers necessary to impress. Better pay attention to his attitude towards those from whom he has nothing to get. This is the most reliable way to look behind the mask and see the true heart of a person. May your heart be open and virtuous to everyone, regardless of their status. May your actions be like the sun shining on everyone without exception. Did you like the video? Please kindly like and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on the new wisdom. Express your thoughts in the comments. They are important for our common path to the truth. Thank you for your attention.